Looking for support, advice, and inspiration from moms just like you? Welcome to Mom Talks, where we delve deep into the struggles, messiness, and beauty of real #mom life. Here's your host, fellow mama and health and fitness expert, Sarah Denton.
So what was your goal? You said immediately you felt indebted and you wanted to give back. So what was your plan? Where were you headed, before babies, before Sebastian came in the picture?
Right. Well, the program that I was able to partake in was heavily geared in the sciences. And I want to add, for some of the classes, it was taught by Native individuals who were Native American medical students. And I just felt like I was in the right place. I was with people who understood things that went deeper than I'm used to people getting. And I just felt so good about it. And I felt really inspired and moved towards a career that did get into the sciences. So it took me a few tries.
Yes.
I want to just kind of throw back to my experience in public school. I don't want to say anything bad about it. I think they did the best they could. Right. And I certainly may not have done the best I could. But when I went to college, I didn't know basic scientific terms. I was really struggling to catch up to the level where I needed to be to even get through these basic classes. So the program that I took, this internship over the summer, was amazing. I mean, I connected with these people, and then I was able to understand things that I had just never gotten. I didn't even know an ion was important or what a mitochondria was. Right. Until I was able to sit with these people and get that connection. So it's really interesting to me going through college then, and just being able to go back to that as my source of support, knowing that there were people out there like me or had that same worldview or
Definitely.
the same challenges.
Definitely.
And they made it and I could contact them. So that kind of support was huge. So fortunately with that still through the whole, career that I had, I got a master's degree.
Congratulations.
In cell biology and ecology. Wow. It was quite a journey. I ended up really enjoying, the sciences, the hard sciences.
Yeah, sounds hard.
And, I did end up, while I was getting my master's, working for the same program that provided the internship to little Veronica, wow. Little wide-eyed Veronica, figuring out where her place in the world might be. So I was able to be a program developer. I was able to teach science, recruit other lecturers, do field trips, even create a science lab with a budget for certain equipment. And we focused on regenerative medicine, and I taught high school students. I even paid out of my own pocket to bring a bus full of Fond du Lac high school students to the school, and I planned a day of activities to just show them the science opportunities at the university that I was attending. And I did my darndest to just try to give back in any way that little old me could. So I'm stumbling a little bit, but yeah, just the best that I could. So I feel proud about some of the things I was doing. So it was through the Center of American Indian and Minority Health at the Medical School of Duluth, Minnesota, that I did a lot of the work during the summer. And then I independently did some outreach, to the Fond du Lac Ojibwe High School on the reservation. And I also did some other outreach just talking about, it was a lesson on Lyme disease, actually, Sarah. And I ended up publishing an education piece.
Holy cow. See, I didn't know this. I didn't know any of this.
I know.
That's incredible.
These are like the glory days. I feel like I'm reliving my cheerleading prom.
Well, live it up, girlfriend. You've earned it. That's fantastic.
It's interesting. I hope I can do more, as I go forward. I always feel like my life just kind of stopped then, and I had a kid, and then my life kind of stopped.
And that's another thing. Yes.
From that perspective.
It feels like it stops. And just out of personal experience, once they get, a little bit older, 3 and 4, a little bit more self-sufficient, I feel like that's when you start to find yourself and your self-identity again. And I think that's important for moms to hear and to realize too, because I think part of the reason that we feel so alone and so isolated is because we went from having an identity to all of the sudden having a kid. And that's not saying that having a kid is bad.
Yeah.
That's the biggest blessing that we could ever be gifted with. And I cherish my baby.
Yeah, I hope we can flip the script on that. But yeah, it's how it feels right now, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think just by hearing I hope that by hearing other moms, we're like, oh, she feels the same way. Oh, she feels the same way. Oh, she feels the same way, that it brings some camaraderie and some support back, and that, other moms are like, okay, well, it is okay. I don't have to feel guilty. She feels this way too. So it's not just me.
I want to slip in there too. Before I made the decision to be a stay-at-home mom, and then it was something that I was inspired by my mom. But it was also something that before I left the university, I did a little tour. I have some very powerful female role models that are at the university that I attended who are also moms, so there's moms who are doing it, right? And there was one, and she became the department head of biology, and she taught and she performed her research in a way that I really appreciated, because she had those very strong elements of cutting edge education, not just lecture, but experiential based. And she also had a family, and she was the department head of biology. And I went over to congratulate her, and I just was in awe, and I was telling her, what I'm thinking of doing with my life, and I'm also married, and I'm moving to West Virginia, and we want to start a family. And I just wanted to pick her brain, like, what's it like for me if I continued on this path of going for a career in the sciences and academia? And I'm not going to name names, and I don't know how I'll be able to do this story justice if we get into it more. But she looked at me and she said, I have regrets. Okay. This kind of work takes you away from your family so much. And I just don't know if, I'll never get that time back. So I'm not telling you to scare you away, but I'm just telling you honestly.
That stuck with you.
I have regrets. And that was powerful. And I know women work their butts off in the sciences, and I know they're underappreciated, and I know they're paid less. And I know that even men work their butts off in the sciences, and you're just expected to, and I don't know how many grad programs or any academic, long-term postdoc to assistant professorship positions demand this. My world was the sciences, so that's why I keep saying the sciences, but maybe all realms of this higher education to, professional academician lead to isolation and just like committed to the grind. And I was like, no, I want more of a balance. I want family. I think family is really important. Yeah.
And so tell me a little bit, since that was just a beautiful segue, talking about your family. How did, anything fun or special about how you and your husband met?
Oh, it was unexpected. Okay. I'll say that. His sister and I were in the same American Indian club together at the university, and she was also studying in biology. So we hit it off pretty okay, I would say. And her big brother was coming to visit, and she invited me. And I don't know why to this day why she invited me out to have coffee with her brother. But we hit it off, and then he went back to West Virginia, and we were like Facebook friends for a few years. And then all of a sudden he was coming back into town, and he wanted to see me again. It was just, yeah. And I remember I was in a point in my life where I didn't want anything to do with men. I was trying to finish up my degree, and I wanted to do a career, or I wanted to move to Japan and teach English for a little bit and just kind of figure some stuff out. I was really at a point where I was, grad school. I was beat up a little bit is what I was, but I definitely had a drive, and I wanted to go do something though that took me somewhere else. And he wanted to have dinner. And I was so nervous. I asked my best friend, I was like, I can't go to this dinner alone. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why he's asking me, but for some reason I'm incredibly nervous. You have to come with. And she did, bless her heart. And it was really fun. And I don't know why, but he and I just didn't stop talking after that. And we had one more dinner alone this time before he left. And this is going to be cheesy and romantic.
I love all the
and
cheese.
You can,
bring it.
poo-poo it if you want.
Yes.
It's real cheese. It's not Hollywood cheese. But I swear to God, I was like, because I had the mentality, the cliche of, I wasn't looking for it. So I wasn't putting up any kind of act, or I wasn't trying to impress him. I was just like, we ended up talking about what we wanted in family and relationships. And I was like, this is where I'm at. I want this. I want this. I don't want any question about someone's loyalty. And I don't want, I don't want anyone who doesn't want to spend time with my family, whether or not they get along or whether or not they think it's weird to live in a log cabin. Just family's important. And I think people should put that first sometimes. And he was so on the same page. I mean, it was a great experience talking to him. We had so many things actually in common. If you want to do a dad talk.
Yeah. Maybe one of these days it'd be fun to do like couple talks.
Yeah, actually.
Yes,
okay,
we will.
We'll talk later about that.
Enjoying the show? Become a patron and receive access to exclusive content and additional episodes. Visit Mom Talk's patron page today and help make motherhood matter.
But my favorite part about this dinner is we put it all out on the table. We saw we had a lot of things in common, and we had a great conversation. It became easy. And then afterwards, he had to go home to West Virginia, and I had to go back to school. And I was like, wow, that was just, I felt like a connection happened. So I wanted to give him a hug. And despite myself, when I hugged him, something happened in my body. I don't know what, like if you want to equate it to fireworks or whatever, but I just was like, whoa, I think I really like this guy. Something just went off in my body that was saying, yeah, yay. It was saying yay.
Oh, I have chills. I love that.
And then literally we didn't stop talking. We didn't stop talking since then. We were there. We were connected, and the connection never broke. So it just kind of keeps going forward. Not that we haven't fought like crazy, because holy cow, marriage
Let's
is
talk
hard.
about that a little bit. Because, I mean, you said how much you two have in common, and how you had already known each other for a few years at that point, even if it was through Facebook. And but once you get married, the movie, the Hollywood version stops.
There's a little
real life starts.
Exactly. Because they don't want to show you what happened.
So, yes.
I feel the same exact way. That's why Hollywood stops.
It totally does. Well, it may go to the honeymoon, and then it's like, okay, roll credits. Absolutely. So how, especially being a woman, and especially being a strong woman, and after talking to you even more now, like everything that you accomplished, everything that you were doing, you were in this position of influence and making a big impact and difference for other people, and doing, kind of like what you felt your heart was truly into. And then, you and your husband, you make the decision that you're going to be a stay-at-home mom. Personally, I feel like, that's a huge decision, because especially if you have been used to being in that role before, it feels even more isolating, and it's easy to then kind of lash out at your partner because you're frustrated, because you don't feel like you're fulfilling this other big part of you. And, and then he might be frustrated because he's like, oh, well, you've just been at home with the kid all day. And you're like, what?
Right.
You
just described an exact incident we had last week, in fact. I feel like that conversation comes up a lot between us, and we do our best to understand. We try to understand each other's point of view. But it just, you know, until you walk in those shoes, you don't understand. Just like people say, boy, having kids is hard work. And you're like, yeah, it is hard
Yeah,
work.
so why not? Let's give it a go.
So
Yeah, right.
can't be that hard. And then you're like, oh,
and then we all laugh.
Really hard. Why didn't anyone tell me? Yes. Especially my mother. Oh boy, does she laugh.
So how do you and your husband deal with that?
Oh gosh. Well, first I hope you don't mind. I just want to touch real quick on what you said about the changes that a woman with a strong independent background can feel. Because my first shift, I think, happened with with getting married, actually. That was an unexpected identity shift. That's what it is. And I also did it where I moved to a different state and moved in with the guy for the first time. So there were a few things that we had to get used to with each other, and there were some power struggles, it seemed like. And huge identity shift.
Yes.
With just getting married. So then coming to the point where we have a child and I want to stay at home, it made sense. Financially, it made sense. And unfortunately, looking at that aspect, it did make sense because this country's privatized daycare system isn't something that I have total faith in. And it seems very, very expensive, though understand why, because it's really hard raising kids. I just wish it was something more moms felt like there was some kind of in between. Some of us just need help, not take our kids or not. So for us, it just made financial sense, but really it was a decision from the heart. It just felt right. That's what we wanted. You know, we wanted to imbue him with our love and connection, and we're his people. We're his safe people. And it was a good decision. But as you brought up, there's another shift, a huge shift, actually. At first, it was just kind of like scrambling to survive, a lot of lack of sleep and just, you know, figuring it out. I think you had asked before, you know, did you feel that love right away when they put the child on you, which I got to experience. They put the child right on my belly right after he was born, and I was waiting for it. I was, that rush, that all at once, all the instincts come and all that happens at once. And it didn't happen at once for me. So I felt really confused for a few months where I was asking people and they'd be like, trust your instincts.
I don't have those instincts yet.
No. No, what if I do something wrong? I'm asking for information here. I'm I'm poring over medical journals because it's how I know how to process. And I felt really actually bad when they'd say trust your instincts. I was like, oh no, am I supposed to know what to do? Because I don't, and I just want to know, is this fever enough to bring him in, or do I just give him? And
I think that's another.
It was
survival. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but you absolutely hit like a nail on the head there by saying that. I think that's another reason that moms feel isolated, is because they tell us to trust our instinct. And especially with the first baby, we may not have that instinct yet, or we may still second guess our instinct because we've just never done it before. But then we feel like we should have it. So we feel dumb or feel neglectful or feel just inadequate if we then go and say, but what about this? Even though it makes perfect sense, you wouldn't be asked to go and speak and run, you know, a whole science department unless you had studied for it. But then kids are just, you know, put in your lap and said, okay, take care of them. Yeah.
Yeah, you should know what to do. Oh, bless you for saying that. Yeah. No. Oh,
yes.
Breastfeeding. I mean, that can be a whole nother talk, but just, trying to breastfeed him was so really hard, and I am embarrassed to admit it, but I'm going to admit it. I did not know that they should nurse through the night. So I kept trying to get my 2-week-old to sleep through the night. I feel to this day like impossibly sad because he was hungry, you know, and I wasn't being mean about it, and I wasn't leaving his side. And I understand.
You thought that's what was supposed to happen.
Yeah. I think moms flock to mom groups, and I think they flock to like internet sites before they go to a nurse or a doctor, because I have a nurse that I go to a lot, and I love her. But every time I ask a question, trust your instincts. You're doing great. And I'm like, are you telling me to leave you alone? Because I'm not going to. I'm
Right.
going to ask you every time I have a question. But I feel like you're telling me to leave you alone. So I understand why moms feel like pushed away.
No.
And that's not a good thing to do to moms.
No, it's not.
Come on, guys.
Like they may have heard it 1,000 times, but they can hear it one more time.
Oh.
I don't care. They can listen and help it. Yes, I think that's so important.
Yeah. And I am hella stubborn. So I mean, I can imagine any other kind of more courteous mom who cares what people think, backing off when someone says, trust your instincts, and then just trying to, feel bad about herself. No. That's not
It's
fair.
not.
No, I don't like that.
Thank you for listening to Mom Talks. Your support is invaluable, so please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. For even more extras and bonus content, be sure to visit Mom Talks' Patreon page.